Hi, family. This is Edward Pruitt the third and Edward Pruitt the fourth. You all know him by E4. I am so excited to be on tonight. As many of you know, we have placed out a book called Refuse to be Silenced. It is so important that everyone grabs their copy. It is available on Amazon. So make sure you go out and get yours on Amazon. Refuse to be Silenced is a playbook that has a foundation. It goes through the foundation. It has a playbook that we walk through for you so that you have the connection to different pieces. Then, in addition, you're doing fantastic. I love this. Then it also has a workbook section as well. The workbook section, we'll show it here, has a place for everyone to write in. We're going to give everybody a few more moments to get in, but before we actually do, we're just going to keep talking. So as you can see, in phase 2, it has a checklist here. And then over here, you can place some additional notes, but it also has a place, let's see if you can see that, for you to write in as well to answer some questions. But we are going to go through this to make sure that everybody gets an option. I can't talk. Everybody has an opportunity to be able to hear what this book is about. I definitely recommend that you go. Refuse to be Silenced. I definitely recommend that you go onto Amazon, order your copy today. Amazon. It is on there, available $15.89. But we're going to read some of this today because we want to, even though certain things cost, we also want to make sure it's accessible to as many people as possible. We see some people coming on in. Thank you for coming in. We're about to get started and read this. Let's turn into the first section. Refuse to be Silenced. It is a civic accountability playbook. It goes beyond that. Things that you are dealing with in your home. Thank you. Things that you are dealing with in your home, bad bosses, institutional issues. This is a great playbook to get started. It is the Westland Watch model for advocating at any level of government for the people who refuse to be silenced. This was born from our continuous efforts to showcase to the people what was going on in Westland, and it developed into a dynamic book. I need this page, please stop. Thank you. A dynamic book for everybody to utilize as a playbook. Can you stop, please? Thank you. What we find with this book, if you are documenting and you're following along with this, the level of success that you have elevates. This was tested in courts, and it's been proven to be successful. And we're going to continue to press forward for everyone. And we want to see other people rise up as well. This has been dedicated to every community member still finding their voice, and to every advocate who refuses to give up. To those who stood with me along the way, your support is written into every page of this work. And then also to my Aunt Norma, we all know she passed, who supported me in everything I set my mind to. Love you always. Success grows daily. Again, if you haven't gotten your Refuse to be Silenced, get it in Amazon. It's available now, $15.89. But we're going to read some of these chapters so that you can see what this book is about. While it does cost, it does not cost here for me to read. I want to make sure to bring the community in, not $100, bring the community in as much as possible. What you will find is in part 1 that there will be the foundation. It covers 3 chapters. In part 2, there is the playbook, and it goes from chapter 4 through 10. Then part 3 is your playbook. It has the civic accountability side, but it also has a way to adapt the framework so that it's successful for you as well. And then part 4 has the core principles. And you'll find going through this, the 4 the core principles. There are 11 principles, and it's basically one page each for them that we've gone through already through the foundation. It has document everything. The record is the weapon. Keep your hands clean. Strength, order, and not emotion. Series architecture over a single post. The community is the campaign. Protect what cannot be replaced. Pacing is discipline. Discipline is credibility. The long haul is the strategy. Protect the vulnerable, and what starts here doesn't stay here. We're reading a couple of the chapters, a few of the chapters here in Refuse to Be Silenced. We recommend you go on to Amazon, grab your copy for yourself so that you'll have this in hand. It's something that you can write in. It's something that you can earmark. It is something so that you can have to effect change wherever injustice is creating an issue in your life. This is, or in those lives that are around you. So in the very beginning, it has a note to the readers, and it says, this is a guide, not a prescription. Every community is different. Every elected official is different. Every jurisdiction has its own laws, its own political culture, and its own pressure points. What worked in Westland, Michigan may need to be adapted for your city, your county, your school board, or your state legislature. This is expected. This is the point. The book is built around a real campaign, the Westland Watch Civic Accountability Campaign, that resulted in a Wayne County Third Circuit Court terminating a retaliatory personal protection order on First Amendment grounds on March 31st, 2026. The framework in these pages is not theoretical. It was tested under pressure, challenged in court, and confirmed by a judge. Every phase you read about was lived before it was written about. But the Westland Watch story is not the destination. It is the evidence. You are the destination. Please stop. Thank you. Use this book however it serves your work and your need for justice. Read it cover to cover to understand the full framework before you begin. Jump to the phase you are already in if you are mid-campaign. Part 3, the workbook section. To plan, use that section to plan, track, and organize your own campaign or life concerns. Mark it up, dog-ear the pages, write in the margins. This book was built to be used. Come on, you're pulling me over. Thank you. One more thing before you begin. This book does not constitute legal advice. The civic literacy you will find here is a starting point, not a substitute for an attorney who knows your specific situation and jurisdiction. Know the difference and get legal counsel when you need it. Now, let's get to work.
Now. See you now.
So, then you go into the introduction, and it says why this book exists. Someone filed a police report on me for advocating for the community. Many of you know that is Councilwoman Melissa Sampe. She filed a police report on me for operating within the bounds of my First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
It was not a legitimate criminal complaint, not an arrest. A police report written up, filed with the Westland Police Department, and used as the foundation for a personal protection order that was designed to silence a community advocate, a minister, and a citizen journalist. I cannot talk. And a citizen journalist for the act of documenting what a public official did in public. They had the wrong strategy. On March 31st, 2026, the Wayne County Third Circuit Court terminated that personal protection order, finding that it was based entirely on constitutionally protected First Amendment activity. The court did not split the difference. It did not issue a partial ruling. It terminated the PPO in full on First Amendment grounds and the improper use of the PPO process. That ruling was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of this book. Documentation. Here is what I learned in the years of documentation, advocacy, legal preparation, and community organizing that led to that courtroom. You do not need to be a lawyer, a politician, or an institution to hold power accountable. You need a documented record, a disciplined strategy, and the refusal to be silenced. This is what this book teaches. This is not a memoir. It is not a grievance. This is a playbook built from a real campaign, tested under real pressure, confirmed by a real court, and designed to travel. It can be picked up by a parent fighting a school board, a neighborhood association challenging a city council, a congregation facing institutional retaliation, or any individual who has been told directly or indirectly that they do not have the right to speak. You have the right to speak. This book will show you how to do it with the strength, the order, and the discipline that makes your voice impossible to ignore. A word about what you will find in these pages. Part 1 builds the foundation, the mindset, the civic literacy, and the faith framework that makes everything else work. You cannot build a credible accountability campaign on unstable ground. Part 1 is the ground. Part 2 is the step-by-step playbook. 6 phases built from building before you need it to closing the loop after the campaign achieves its goal. Each phase is a chapter. Each chapter ends with the key actions for that phase. Part 3 is yours. Please stop. Thank you. Part 3 is yours. It is the workbook. Printable checklists, planning pages, and space for your notes on your campaign. Write in it. That is what it's for. Part 4 is the 11 core principles. I read that at the very beginning of the live. 1 page each, 1 principle each, and the distilled truth of everything the campaign taught about what it takes to advocate with discipline. Start at the beginning or start where you are. Either way, start. And then now we're into part 1. Again, part 1 is the foundation. Before you advocate for anything, build this first. And there's a quote on here. It says, "The record is not what you build after something goes wrong. It is what you build so you are ready when it does." It does have my name there. Good reading. Chapter 1. The mindset shift. Strength, order, and not emotion. There's a version of this story where I lose. If we were to fall into the trap. That's not appropriate. Not in court, not in the documented record, but in the comment section. Early in the Westland Watch campaign, the opposition found their way into the comment sections of the posts that were exposing exactly what they did not want exposed. The comments were inflammatory. They were designed to provoke. They were written by people who understood correctly that an emotional response from me would be more damaging to my credibility than anything they could say on their own. They were right about that. They were wrong about what I would do. Here's what we did instead. We read the comments, we laughed to ourselves, and then we responded. We did not respond to the person who wrote the comment, but to every person reading the exchange. We used their provocation as an opportunity to add more context, more documentation, more information. The person commenting believed we were responding to them. We were not even slightly. Our focus was never on silencing the opposition. I cannot see. Our focus was on making sure the community had everything it needed to draw its own conclusions. And with, as simple as it seems, that is what it looks like to move from strength instead of from emotions. The opposition handed us the microphone every time they commented. We made sure to use it and used it correctly. We're still on chapter 1. What emotional advocacy costs. Most people who start an accountability campaign Most people who start an accountability campaign started because something happened to them. That is appropriate. Injustice is personal. The anger that comes with it is real and it is legitimate. The problem is not the anger. The problem is what happens when the anger drives the strategy. An advocate operating emotionally responds to every provocation. They show up to every confrontation. They fire back at every comment. They let the opposition set the pace and the agenda because every move the opposition makes triggers a reaction. The advocate becomes predictable. The advocate becomes manageable. And eventually the advocate becomes the story instead of the conduct they were documenting. The opposition knows this. It is not an accident that they post inflammatory comments, make provocative statements at public meetings, and create public spectacles designed to draw a response. They are fishing. They want the emotional reaction because the emotional reaction shifts the narrative from their conduct to yours. When you take the bait, you hand them the case they cannot build on their own. If you have not gotten Refuse to Be Silenced, I definitely recommend you get it in the Amazon store. It is an easy read. It's an amazing read, but it has powerful effects. We are currently in chapter 1, and we're going to continue now. The April 6th decision. On April 6th, 2026, Westland City Council woman Melissa Sampe used the council dais to make statements about me and my advocacy work. It was not the first time she had done this, nor was it the last. She misused the dais on 3 separate council meetings, and she organized her supporters to show up that night specifically. It was a performance. It was designed to provoke a response and to paint a false narrative using the weight of government as a backdrop. I was not there. I wasn't in the building. Not because I did not know about the meeting, not because I did not have things to say. I was not there because I understood their pattern. Part of what they do is create situations designed to generate a reaction and stage a contrived front against any statement I may make. A confrontation, an outburst, a moment that can be reframed as instability or aggression. The reaction they seek never surfaces, but the attempt occurs nonetheless. Showing up could have given them exactly what they needed, even just a measured statement. Additionally, my attending would have muddied the continued waters we were later to expose. Our silence is always invoked strategically. So, she and her orchestrated party spoke. Me not being there let Councilwoman use 13 minutes of public meeting time meant for the people's business, to say what she wanted to say. The government recording documented every word of it. And then, at the right time, we published the record. In the first minute and a half of her April 6 remarks, Councilwoman Sampe made 5 documented false statements. We had the recording. We had the timestamps. We had the facts. If I had shown up that night and responded emotionally, I would have been the headline. Because I did not, she became the record. If you have not gotten Refuse to Be Silenced, we definitely recommend you go over to Amazon and purchase your copy today. It is $15.89. The $15.89 stands for the 158 pages that I placed in front of the record in court that the judge referenced. We're moving on. Amazon. Refuse to be silenced. Strength and order is not silence. There is a distinction that needs to be made clearly before we go any further in this book. Moving from strength and order is not the same as staying quiet. It is not passivity. It is not letting things go. It does not indicate backing down. It is the discipline to choose when and how you respond based on what serves the documented record and the community, not based on what your emotions are telling you to do in the moment. The strongest move I made during the Westland Watch campaign was moving on my terms, according to the documented record that already existed and the documented record being created in real time, allowing it to fully formulate to be executed upon at the right moment. And from there, the strongest move was publishing the documented record of what happened at the moment it would create the most impact. Strength is strategic. Emotion is reactive. The difference between the two things is often the difference between winning and losing, even when the facts are the same. They cannot use your restraint against you. They can absolutely use your reaction. They may try to use your restraint against you, but it doesn't. Stop, buddy. Thank you. But it doesn't often pan out well for them. They usually expose more in your restraint and through their attempts to get you to react. All right, buddy. People are listening, right? Thank you. They usually expose more in your restraint and through their attempts to get you to react than they ever get from you. That's because your restraint is powerful. Your restraint is strength. Know when to respond immediately. Most times you won't need to. And waiting will serve you better. But there may be times to speak immediately. At all times, it must be strategic and not from a place of reactive emotions. Last part that I'm going to read. Refuse to be silenced. Grab yours on Amazon. It is an amazing book. You can already tell from listening to this part of chapter 1. The 3 questions section, it says, before you respond to anything in civic accountability, in a civic accountability campaign, a comment, a public statement, a media attack, a legal filing, ask yourself 3 questions. 1, does this response... Stop, buddy. Thank you. I can't read. 1, does this response serve the record or does it serve my ego? If the primary reason you want to respond is because you are angry, that is your ego. If the response adds documented evidence, provides the community with more information, or advances the campaign's stated goal, that is the record. Serve the record. Number 2, who am I talking to? In the Westland Watch campaign, we were never talking to the people making inflammatory statements. We were talking to every community member reading the exchange. Know your real audience at every moment. The person provoking you is rarely the person you need to reach. All right, buddy. Actually, we only have a few more chapters in this, sections in this chapter, so we'll finish the chapter. Number 3, what does this give them? Every public response you make is a data point. Ask what the opposition can do with it before it stops, buddy. That is not appropriate. You got to be part of it. Thank you. Every response you make is a data point. Ask what the opposition can do with it before you make it. A measured, documented response gives them nothing. An emotional reaction gives them a narrative. Order is the architecture. Beyond the emotional discipline, there is a structural discipline that matters just as much. Order is not just how you feel in a given moment, it is how you build. A campaign built with order has a documented record that is organized, dated, sourced, and cross-referenced before a single post is published. It has a series structure that builds sequentially. It has a constant demand that never moves. It has a content schedule that is paced deliberately. It has a platform with a track record that gives the campaign credibility before the opposition has a chance to attack it. Order is what separates civic journalism from social media venting. Both can be loud. Only one of them wins. The mindset in one sentence. Every decision in this campaign runs through a filter. Does this advance the documented record, or does it advance my reaction to being wronged?
Yes.
If it advances the record, do it. If it advances the reaction, sit with it, document it, and find the version of it that serves the record instead. That is the mindset. Everything else in this book is built on it. And at the end of the chapter, each chapter, we have key actions that go over specifics of what was in the book. So in chapter 1, key actions, it says, before your campaign launches, make a conscious decision. You will respond to the record, not to provocation. Identify your real audience. In any public exchange, you are speaking to the community watching, not the opposition participating. Build the 3-question filter into your practice. Before any public response, ask, does this serve the record? Who am I actually talking to? What does this give them? Establish order in your documentation before you need it. An organized record built in advance is the foundation of a disciplined campaign. Recognize suppression tactics for what they are, an expression and data point that the campaign is working. Treat them accordingly. We are now at a good point to start. If you have not gotten your book, grab it on Amazon. Refuse to be silenced. This is a powerful book. It is a playbook for you to use, to write in, to start your campaign, to effect change, not only against governments that are doing wrong, injustice anywhere. It has the tools you need to be able to effect the change needed. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you to those who have purchased the book already. We are at a perfect place to stop. We have been reading, E4 and I have been reading multiple books for quite a while because that's what we do right before bed. And as you can see, he's finally tuned down to be ready for bed. We love you. We thank you. We value you. And we're going to continue to fight this good fight so that the bad guys can get out of office, can stop doing the harm that they've been doing, and so that you can have a peace of mind, live peaceably, and have success. We love you, we thank you, and have a wonderful night. Amazon, refuse to be silenced. Grab yours tonight.